Stay tuned after the video for a bonus list of must-play solo board games that have been inducted into the Knights of the Round Table. This channel is a pure passion project that has been created due to the love that I have for the board gaming hobby. For the first time on this channel, I have created a list of over 20 of my personal favorite solo board games. For this list, there were over 120 board games that I had to choose from. From those board games, there were well over 50 possible contenders, but only 20, give or take a few, were able to make it onto this list. This is Solo Board Gaming Night, and I'd like you to join me as I go through, for the first time ever, my top 20 favorite solo board games. Ascension Tactics, I believe, is a hidden gem. I don't hear many people talking about it. This deck building area control tactical game is incredibly addicting. The constructs, in my opinion, are the highlight of the game. There's a fun campaign to go through, and it's one of the few games I own that I enjoy playing both solo and competitive. Ascension Tactics is a must-play hidden gem. Marvel Zombies had a rough start with me. It desperately needed more content to add variety into the mix. Thankfully, the expansions and the stretch goal box, especially the stretch goal box, swooped in and saved the day. Not only can I play both the zombie and hero modes now, but with the wealth of customization options now available to play with, it's a game that I gladly revisit time and time again. Marvel Zombie has now become a great action-packed dice chucker. Recklin Run has a rulebook that has several errors, and it leaves much to be desired. That's unfortunate, because once you get past that, you'll find a game that has a great upgrading system. It's really rewarding. I truly personally enjoy it so much. It has a satisfying dice placement combat, as well as an incredibly enjoyable adventure through this Mad Max style world. Recklin Run is a great solo-only experience, and one that I truly recommend. Star Wars: The Clone Wars is my favorite pandemic spin-off. From the excellent miniatures to the art, exploring the galaxy far, far away is just pure fun. The card play and combat, along with a huge amount of missions and exciting showdowns with Siths from the Clone War era, has easily cemented Star Wars: The Clone Wars as my personal favorite pandemic-style board game since World of Warcraft: Wrath of the Lich King. Even if you're bored with the pandemic-style system, Star Wars: The Clone Wars breathes new life to the aging system and proves that there's still plenty of fun to be had, especially with the newly implemented game mechanics. Tokyo Sidekick is yet another almost forgotten gem. The anime-style art strikes a chord with me. The deck building found here may be familiar, but leveling up and upgrading your hero and sidekick while facing off against a bevy of villains wreaking havoc on the city is very, very well done. Upgrading your hero enough to be able to go toe-to-toe against a chosen kaiju while protecting the city really does make Tokyo Sidekick stand out. If you happen to find a copy of Tokyo Sidekick, I highly recommend it. G.I. Joe, the deck building game, has a horrendous rulebook. There were a lot of errors within that rulebook. I'm glad I didn't give up on it because it actually turned out to be a really great deck builder. Using vehicles to go on missions never got old, and the sheer amount of story missions available via its many expansions, I really love these expansions by the way, really increases the fun factor, for me at least. If you're a fan of G.I. Joe, I think G.I. Joe the deck building game is a no-brainer, a must play. I have to admit, there is a lot of negativity surrounding Marvel Dagger. I almost didn't play it because of that. However, I really enjoyed it. There's 20 heroes to choose from with 6 different aspects that completely changes the way you play. The 4 main villains each have a final showdown along with minions that help add variety to the gameplay. It may just be me, but I personally really enjoyed Marvel Dagger a lot. I don't know why, but I did. Look into it to see if it interests you. Marvel Dagger, in my opinion, is worth it. Warp's Edge is a great solo-only board game. Defeating a fleet of enemy ships while upgrading your ship via this bag builder in an attempt to defeat the mothership before your final warp is just so much fun, and till this day, I constantly think about it and play it. Repeating the battle over and over again while retaining your upgrades is pretty reminiscent to the movie Edge of Tomorrow. That's the movie where the hero relives the same day over and over again until the alien swarm is defeated. That same idea really shines in the gameplay department, making Warp's Edge one of the games I've recommended the most to solo gamers. Warp's Edge truly is a great solo-only board game. Star Wars Outer Rim really immerses me with its gameplay. Taking the role of several iconic characters like Han Solo as you smuggle your way through the Outer Rim, completing contact missions, bounties, recruiting crew members, and gaining a lot of credits along the way makes this game feel exhilarating. Star Wars fans will love this pick up and deliver fever dream. The AI, in my opinion, is phenomenal, and you could play against 2 AIs at the same time, which is pretty awesome. Star Wars Outer Rim is a must-play, especially for the Star Wars fans. The art style alone in Vagrant Song won me over. The acrylic standees for the Haints and the Vagrants all look beautiful. The scenario book is incredibly well done, with really well illustrated art and fun scenarios to play through. Best of all, the gameplay truly shines. That's the most important part of it. This boss battler is not only beautiful to look at, but the gameplay is very well crafted and a joy to play. I can't wait for the expansions. Vagrant Song is a must play. Adventure Tactics Damian's Tower is a tactical combat-based game that may be on the lighter side of complexity, but it has a really fun campaign that has branching paths, a rewarding loot system, and hands down, in my opinion, my personal favorite leveling up system that I have ever seen in board game form. The amount of classes you can mix, match, and master is a game in its own. If you've ever played the Disgaea series with its incredible variety of job classes or Bravely Default, you'll have a good idea more or less what to expect from the job classes in Adventure Tactics. The job classes alone makes Adventure Tactics a game that's worth playing. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Change is Constant and Cityfall is a surprisingly deep strategy game. It incorporates dice, creating a unique combat and movement mechanic, something I've never seen before. With a unique mix of combat, card play that feels genuine to the characters and an immense focus on how to actually navigate the terrain, you get to pull off moves that are very faithful to the Ninja Turtles. There are a lot of rules and icons you'll need to learn, but the gameplay is incredibly satisfying. The biggest downside is that you need Change is Constant to be able to play as the Ninja Turtles, and you also need the City Fall box if you want to fight against Shredder, Bebop, and Rocksteady. Other than that, it's a great game. Batman the Animated Series, Shadow of the Bat, utilizes the same exact game system and mechanics that is used for the Ninja Turtles game. It's basically a reskin of the same game, and it's just as fun to play, but with Batman characters and villains instead. I love the homage to the title cards from the animated series. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Change is Constant, and City Fall, as well as Batman the Animated Series, Shadow of the Bat, are all great games that are very faithful to the source material. Dice Throne Adventures finally allowed me to play Dice Throne solo. Each hero has a completely unique set of skills and powers. Upgrading existing powers is fun and addicting. I really like it. Making your way through dungeons fighting minions and gaining loot is really well done. Facing off against the boss does a great job of mimicking what it is like to fight a player. I should know because I actually play this with my wife and kids a lot. The AI here works great. I can't wait to get my hands on the upcoming X-Men Marvel Dice Throne missions. That's going to be great. Dice Throne Adventures does a great job converting a competitive game into a co-op and solo experience. Legendary Marvel was the very first deck builder I ever played. Till this day, it remains my favorite deck builder of all time. I've enjoyed every expansion I've played, with World War Hulk and Dark City being my absolute favorites. I created a very useful storage solution to help me quickly bring this game to the table. It reduces setup and teardown considerably. The deck building aspect is perfection, and it's very addicting. There's a huge variety of henchmen and villains to fight against. Recruiting a giant roster of heroes is not only satisfying, but it's also fun to experiment with different combinations of heroes in an attempt to find that perfect team with great synergy. I really enjoy how different masterminds and scenarios change the game. Legendary Marvel is a deck building goldmine. Legendary Encounters, The Matrix, doesn't feel like a reskin at all. It's a completely different version of Legendary Marvel. Not only does it combine the world of The Matrix with the gameplay mechanics of Legendary Marvel, but it adds a new twist to the formula. You now need to scan in order to reveal the lineup. This changes gameplay, making it feel completely fresh. Mission objectives have you reliving the Matrix trilogy, making Legendary Encounters The Matrix a must-play for fans of the Legendary series. The Legendary series has cemented itself as my favorite deck-building series. Resident Evil the board game, in my opinion at least, fixes the shortcomings I had with Resident Evil 3 the board game and became a love letter to every Resident Evil fan out there. Exploring the Spencer Mansion has been masterfully recreated in board game form. It's pretty awesome to witness. Every gameplay element feels like it was directly ripped from the video game. This game is so faithful to the source material that it's fun just to see how they pull off so many iconic Resident Evil moments. This is a no-brainer for fans of Resident Evil. Although I enjoyed Resident Evil 3, the changes made to Resident Evil the board game makes this the superior version to play. Role-player adventures not only allowed my imagination to run wild, but it literally brought an epic fantasy adventure to life on my board game table. Each adventure book is meant to be played in one session. Each adventure has you exploring a completely unique region of this fantasy world. Using a bag full of multicolored dice, You get to manipulate the dice using the cards in your hand. These cards have you manipulate the color and results of the dice in the hopes that you're able to manipulate them just enough to defeat the enemies and complete specific checks depending on the situation at hand. Nephris's Judgment is, in my opinion, a must-buy expansion that adds backstories and side missions to your heroes. Growing up, I was a huge fan of point-and-click adventures like Sam & Max, Grim Fandango, and Escape from Monkey Island. Role-player adventures shares that DNA of the point-and-click genre and remains a must-play experience. I've been itching to finally get Goldplax's Secret to the table. Can't wait. Tales from the Red Dragon Inn was a game that I purchased on a whim just because I wanted to play something new. It's kind of funny. I knew that I was going to like it, but I really never expected it to be this good. The character actions and abilities are not only unique and fun to play with mechanically, but the cooling system ties it all neatly together to create a very compelling dungeon crawler. The epic pool and exploding dice makes every dice roll fun. The enemy AI is pulled off exceptionally well, with dice determining their reactions for the round. I even like the system that keeps track of enemy damage. Well done. The story is funny and well written, creating great chemistry between the heroes. The rewards keep every scenario feeling engaging. Just make sure you find a good storage solution for your tokens. Tales from the Red Dragon Inn is a dungeon crawler that won't easily be forgotten. Tamashii Chronicle of Ascend not only has beautiful anime-inspired art that is vibrant and colorful, but it looks amazing on the table. This is a great-looking board game. I can't emphasize that enough. The gameplay is no slouch either. The hacking mechanic will be very familiar to any fan of the Bullet Heart and Bullet Star series. Hacking, upgrading your launcher, gaining augments, hacking and taking over new bodies that offer completely new abilities, being traced, and fighting against enemies is great fun and extremely well done. Each scenario offers a lot of replayability with branching paths that actually changes your objectives and how you play the game. On top of all that, the Jordan bot offers an outstanding true solo experience. Tamashii Chronicle of Ascend is an easy recommendation and a must-play if you're looking for a game with a great true solo mode. Final Girl is hands down my favorite solo-only board game. I've reviewed both series on this channel, and those videos are my personal favorite reviews I've ever made for the channel. Fighting to survive against parody killers based on iconic slashers like Hans, which is a riff off of Jason Voorhees, Dr. Fright, which is basically Freddy Krueger, The Poltergeist, which is based on a movie of the same name, the Evil Morph, which is ripping off the iconic xenomorphs from the Alien franchise, the Big Bad Wolf from Little Red Riding Hood, the Intruders, based on The Strangers, and the Organism, which is a callback to The Thing, all bring something new and unique to the gameplay. You'll also find some funny Easter eggs that are clear nods to other franchises like Silence of the Lambs. As the killers hunt down victims and you, the final girl, it's up to you to find items, scour for resources as you attempt to guide victims to safety. You do this by managing your hands, rolling dice, and fighting against time in the hopes of defeating the killer and becoming the final girl. This is another must-play game for anyone looking for a true solo experience. A must-buy. Oathsworn, Into the Deepwood not only consumed many weeks of my life, but it completely obliterated the competition. That's saying a lot because every single game on this list I consider to be outstanding. The adventure aspect tells an engaging story and offers an opportunity to gain an upper hand against whichever encounter you're about to confront. Unfortunately, due to spoilers, I can't show you much when it comes to gameplay, but rest assured, the card management based combat called Battle Flow is stellar, absolutely stellar. I use a mix of both cards and dice for combat, although I mostly use cards, but the choice is yours. Every single encounter has an epic feeling scale when it comes to navigating the battlefield. The abilities that bosses can pull off on you and the abilities that you can pull off on the bosses and minions will literally keep you on the edge of your seat. The miniatures are a thing of beauty and serve to magnify the bone-crunching excitement these epic encounters offer. Oathsworn, Into the Deepwood, easily climbed its way to the top of my personal favorite solo board games of all time. Wow, what a list! You don't even want to know how long it took me just to set this shot that you're looking at up. I can't believe I actually pulled this list off. It took me a long time, but I had a great time making this list. This was the first for this channel, and I'm glad that you made it this far. Before you go, I have one more list to share with you. You may have noticed that I never score games that I review. The following list is for those special games that, whenever a list would be made, would never leave the top spots. That makes it difficult for other games to show up on any future list. From now on, any game I review that goes above and beyond and offers stellar experiences will be inducted into the Knights of the Round Table. Solo Knights, let us welcome the Knights of the Round Table. The game that got this channel started, Descent: Legends of the Dark. Marvel Champions, the card game. Burn Cycle. Hoplomachus Victorum. Too Many Bones. Etherfields. Solo Knights, I introduce to you the Knights of the Round Table. This was Solo Board Gaming Night. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you and everyone else has a great game night. Take care, Solo Knights.